Hey mamas, and welcome to the Entering Motherhood podcast. This is your one-stop go-to place for getting you from feeling drained, exhausted, and unfulfilled in motherhood to feeling more energized, organized, and accomplished. That's the vision I continue to navigate towards, and that's the vision we are sharing with you, focusing on holistic alternatives and restructuring your mind, body, and soul from the inside out. I'm your host, Sarah Marie Bilger, a wife, mom of two, mechanical engineer, VBAC mom, and doula, serving mamas through pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. If you're here for this, if you're as pumped up as I am and searching for that fire that you know is deep inside of you, then let's go. Let's uncover what it truly means to enter motherhood. You are a rock star. I believe in you. Let's doula this. Let's crank it up a notch and let's kick it into high gear together. Hey mamas, how are you? I am so excited to bring this episode to you today. We're talking with Daniela, who is the founder, creator, owner of Solma, which is a ready-to-drink lactation support beverage. And I want you to listen to this episode. I know we're talking about her product and I know that we're talking about Solma, but this isn't in any way, a sales pitch, an ad, or anything like that, but really a genuine conversation between two moms about struggles of breastfeeding, the postpartum time, finding support, finding people to connect with, real life situations. And in her story and her situation, it has led her to create this business. And we really just go into finding that support that you need during the postpartum period. Hello and welcome to Entering Motherhood. So excited to have you here today and get this conversation started. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for the listeners?
Thank you so much, Sarah. So I'm excited to be here. My name is Daniela, and I'm the founder of Solma. And Solma is the first ready-to-drink lactation support beverage. So I am a mother of 3 kids, 5 and under. I'm a wife. I live in Massachusetts. And so I like to say that's where Solma was conceived, right? Like in the Boston area. So yeah, so I'm excited to be here and speak about all things motherhood, all things business, and to share more about Solma and my journey thus far.
Yeah. So how old are your kids?
So my daughter is 5, and then we have 2 boys, 3 and 1. So it's a lot of fun.
Perfect. Yeah. So I always like
Yeah.
to kind of like start off saying like let's backtrack then 5 years ago or maybe 6 years ago. What was kind of going on in your life? How were you kind of going about this entrance into motherhood and what was your journey like at that point?
Yeah, so it's funny. Nobody's ever asked me that, and that's literally where the idea of Solma really came, started. So everybody had always spoken to me about, pregnancy and birth and this, that, and the other, but nobody had really prepared me for the 4th trimester or the months following giving birth. And so where was I 5, 6 years ago? So excited to, we had been married for a few years. I was excited to really launch into like the whole motherhood, have a child. We were pretty lucky in that we were able to get pregnant pretty quickly and had an uneventful pregnancy, birth, and then motherhood sort of hit me in the face, like in the 4th trimester. And breastfeeding especially was something that I had always heard about. Breastfeeding is so natural and it's so beautiful. And I always tell people, yes, it is natural and beautiful, and it can be really hard. It can be really hard. And I was not mentally aware of those challenges or things that could have come up. So I was in a completely different mind state 5, 6 years ago than I am now. Obviously, you evolve, you learn, your experiences sort of shape you. And so that's where I am right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is like, there's always that like one aspect of motherhood that it's like, nobody ever told me about this. And like, sometimes like that's one of the more difficult moments of going through. And like, yeah, we have to like learn and adjust and grow and things like that. But it's just sort of like, why didn't anybody tell me this? Or like, why wasn't it kind of like brought up that, like low supply can be a possibility or, like if it hurts in this way, then like that's probably like that's not normal, or maybe you should go check it out. Because yeah, I
Right.
dealt with thrush and everything with my firstborn,
Oh,
and that was such a big issue because it was the first few weeks, and like I thought this is just, I'm learning how to breastfeed, and it's supposed to hurt a little bit and things like that. But when it was like excruciating pain, like rubbing up against my nipples, and I finally like brought it up to the pediatrician, they were like, yeah, you probably should get that looked at. Like you probably have some sort of bacteria infection, things like that. And it cleared up. Like I got on medication, it cleared up and it was fixed and everything. But, and then like mastitis. And it's just like
oh,
all of these things that it's like, if you don't know, like you're just, oh my gosh, like why is my boob in so much pain? Like, why is it so
right,
full? There's just like so many little things that it's like, sometimes we forget about it because like, once it's over with, we're kind of like in and out of our head. But
right.
having to go through that for the first time and experience all these little things, and your friends are going to have different experiences, your family's going to have different experiences, and it's just,
100%, 100%.
yeah.
I I think back at that time, right, after having my first, and I experienced all of that. I had undersupply issues, I had latch issues, and now I'm able to laugh about it and we talk about it. But during while we were going through it, it was really hard. But my husband would always talk about how we'd be like in conversation, and like in the middle of the conversation, I would just fall quiet. And he'd look over, and it's because the baby latched. And it was so painful. We used to say it was a 10-second sizzle. Like that initial latch was always so painful that the only way that I felt like I could get past it was honestly like to probably disassociate for like 10 seconds. And now I laugh about it, I talk about it, but while I was going through it, I remember thinking, okay, something wrong? Am I doing that? Nobody had ever said to me breastfeeding can hurt, or nobody had mentioned to me the possibility of thrush or latch issues, anything like that. So obviously, like as a first time mom, I'm like, am I doing it okay? Like, is there something wrong with me? There's something wrong with my, like, what is happening? What is happening? So that's why I feel like it's one of my personal goals to really just talk about it all, so that anybody who hears is able to at least be like, oh, okay, that's happened to me. Okay, all right, I'm okay. It's happened to somebody else. All right, I feel not so alone anymore.
Yeah, and like give resources to somebody that can, like move you along in a better situation, or like at least like open up the door of, like I can
Right.
talk to somebody about this because it's not embarrassing and it's not something to be afraid of or shameful of. Like it does happen to other people. And like who cares if like, you're having a situation and like you do bring it up to a friend that like has never experienced that before. At least like it's gonna be like out in the air and like talked about it open, and it can be like, oh, I do have a resource to help you. Or it can be like, oh, no, I've never experienced that. Like, it's like, okay, well, thanks.
Yes.
But, but yeah, I think like finding friends that like you can have open conversations with about these sort of things can be like super beneficial and helpful because like you're gonna have something come up.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
hundred percent. Like that's the whole journey of motherhood. And that's why I'm so vocal too about find your village. If that's your next door neighbor, if that's somebody online, if that's somebody that you see at drop off, find somebody, because it's important. Like as you're navigating through it, your body's going through things, you're experiencing things that you've never experienced before. It's important to have support.
Yeah. What are some other things when you were, like so you had your first and then like jumping from that like 1 to 2 or 2 to 3, like what were some surprising things that you were finding that were still occurring or were different from one to the other? Like you've been able to enter motherhood multiple times now. So how has like each experience differed?
Yeah, so I've always said knowledge is power. So definitely 0 to 1 was the hardest for me, both physically and emotionally, and also for my marriage, just because we didn't really know what to expect or what we were getting into. 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3, that one was a little bit, those were smoother. I think because I was now mentally prepared for, all right, like during cluster feeding, the baby will be up every 20 minutes, or okay, if there's like a 10-second sizzle, or if breastfeeding hurts, check the latch, check for thrush, or maybe your breast just needs it, your nipples sort of just have to get used to it. So no, I always say knowledge is power, and that's why I think my subsequent pregnancies and births and in the postpartum period were very different than my first one, because now I sort of knew what to expect. I knew who to talk to if I had questions. I had established resources in my community and all of that, which helped me feel more prepared, I guess. Like, I feel like you're never really like perfectly prepared, but more empowered, in that, okay, at least I have an idea of what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And when did the business really come into play? Like you were saying, you were thinking of it, when your daughter was, or it was your daughter that's the oldest, right?
Yes, my
Yes,
daughter,
when your daughter
exactly.
was born and everything, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, but like what really started rolling? What was that transition like? What were, you doing previously and how has that really all been unfolding throughout the years?
Yeah, absolutely. So after having my daughter, our first, that's when I had undersupply issues and I went back to work and I was pumping around the clock and it was fine. Like I was producing enough to be able to send her to daycare with freshly expressed breast milk, which was important for me at the time. And so I realized though, when I had to go away for work for the first time, I think it was like only 2 or 3 days, so nothing like major, but I realized there was not enough breast milk to leave her at home with. And so I started looking for various products in the market in order to help boost my supply so that every pump session yielded more ounces. And so I looked to the teas that you steep, I looked to the cookies that you eat, and they all worked for me. The only thing was that as one kid became two and then two became three, sometimes I realized I didn't want to have a hot tea next to me while there's another kid running around, or you start having like two cookies a day and you're like, I'm kind of these are delicious, but I'm cookied out. And so I was starting to realize, okay, I need a product that will deliver the galactagogue or milk producing ingredients that all these other products have, but in a ready to drink format so that I can just grab and go. I can throw my work bag in the diaper bag. It has all the ingredients before that was really helping boost my supply, but I was able to sip it throughout the day. So I couldn't find a product like this. So that's where Solma, the idea of Solma, came from. And actually the idea started soon after, like, well, I was in the postpartum period with my daughter. And then from there, from the idea, like from the whole idea conception to actually the first round of production, that took a few years. So my husband and I partnered on this together, and which was really like nice to have somebody who hasn't physically experienced postpartum, but has been emotionally partnering with me in the postpartum journey, like up in the middle of the night, like seeing all the number of latch and supply issues and all of that. So having somebody like that on the journey with me to also partner in this business with me was very helpful. So like I said, so the idea came soon after my daughter was born, and then we worked on it for a few years to get the flavor profile right, to get all the ingredients that we wanted sourced and all of that. And we actually launched earlier last year. So we're kind of new. I like to say it's my fourth baby.
Yeah. So you mentioned the ingredients that are in it and other products that you were utilizing. What are some of the key ingredients that really help with our lactation and why are they helping?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have five of the main well-known galactagogues. And so one of the ones that we use that is a game changer, was a game changer for me, and we've heard from countless other women that also supports them, is fenugreek. So fenugreek is in many of the mother's milk teas. They sell fenugreek tablets and things like that. So that really worked for us. We also have fennel, milk thistle, turmeric. So these are all ingredients that anecdotally have been shown over time to help boost milk supply. So women have been using these ingredients for generations to really boost their supply in a natural way. And so we delved into these five main ingredients and worked with a lactation consultant and a doctor in order to really finalize a formulation, so that each bottle delivers a healthy dose so that you're able to get the boost that you need, but also hydrate yourself, which is very important.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's so important, especially to have like that one-handed item kind of that you can just sip on and really, like you were even saying, like with the hot tea and even just like having to go and prepare yourself the tea can sometimes be like a lot. And this is like you can stick it in your bag, you can take it wherever. Like it's really convenient when it's something as simple as a water bottle, like essentially, like, like it's just there with you, supporting you and being there to do what you essentially like you do want to produce more milk. And like I don't know if there, well, I don't want to say like there's never been somebody that like has complained about like an oversupply. Like I'm sure that there's people that like get way too much
Right.
somehow magically, but most of us, like we are looking to just get a higher yield and fill like the bottles when we're pumping, and peace of mind when we're leaving to go on a trip or when we're like going back to work and we're pumping in the break room or something like that. So
Right. Well, that's exactly what we say. That's one of our North Stars is we give moms one less thing to worry about. Like you have so much on your mind. You're going back to work, or maybe you're not, like maybe your job is at home with the children, which is hard too, but you're in the sandwich generation and you're caring for your young kids and also caring for an aging parent. Something has you on the go. And so our goal at Solma is to really give moms one less thing to worry about. Like you have so much on your mind. Just sip and go, hydrate. And for me too, one of the reasons that I really wanted to create this product in the 16.9 ounces that we did was because I'm a terrible water drinker. I never drink water unless I'm breastfeeding, and then I have an unquenchable thirst. And so I really wanted to develop a product that was large enough that if you had that unquenchable thirst, that other breastfeeding moms probably know what I'm talking about, you had enough to be able to like take it out of the fridge, open it up, and it'll quench your thirst while also delivering those important ingredients.
yeah, I mean, yeah, everybody needs to be hydrated and staying hydrated and being able to like, like get that. And, like you said, like even with the cookies, you could be cookied out or there's different bars or different other like products and stuff. I think it's like you could always use a nice like drink and whatnot. So that's definitely like a perk and having that there. What else have you like in the design or the flavorings of it? Like what has kind of been like the most fun part of really this whole structuring it and launching the product and getting it out to moms?
Yeah, I think the most fun part, like obviously, I think back at the whole journey, and like I said, it took years. So every sort of stage had a lot of fun aspects, but I think my most favorite part has been recently. Now that we launched, now that the product is getting into other people's hands, and this is actually the product, one of the flavors that we have. And so the most fun part has been being able to connect with women, with mothers who understand, like they are buying it and they are getting it because they needed it and they felt the same need that I felt, which is why I created it. And so I think that has been the most rewarding thing because we created this product because I personally felt that there was a need in the market, and to hear other women saying, "Yes, oh my gosh, I needed this too. Thanks for creating this." That has been the most exciting part because the goal has always been to just be able to give moms one less thing to worry about. You have so much going on. Just like hydrate, and if breastfeeding is part of the journey that you're on, then let me help you with a product that can help boost your supply. That's it. That's it. And so being able to talk to women who appreciate this product and are using it the way that I like was hoping people would use it has been incredibly rewarding and exciting, and probably my favorite part of the process so far.
Yeah. So you have a 1 year old right now, right? You
Yeah.
5, 3, and 1. Are you still nursing with them? And what has breastfeeding been like, different compared to like using the product yourself or anything like that?
Yes. Yes. So I am still breastfeeding my 1 year old. And it's funny because the other two, like around the 1 year mark, they started drinking milk, like regular milk, and they started eating more things. So they sort of lost interest. But my 1 year old right now, it's like he knows, like he knows. When I go away now for work or whatever, I come back, I pump while I'm away. And when I come back, he's very eager to start nursing again, which honestly is kind of nice because I would love to have more children one day, but what if I don't? And so it's like I want to prolong this period, this phase as long as I can. And so Asoma has been great, except for the reasons why I created it. Like for the mom on the go, I drink that when I'm away to help boost my supply so that I can pump on the go. I drink that the days that I go into the office because I still work full time. I have another full time. So, it supports me on my journey now because all the ingredients that are in it are okay with, for anybody. So it's great.
Yeah, yeah. So You said like, like maybe you'd have more kids and things like that. Like what has really been like speaking to first time mom or even just like somebody who's like currently pregnant or newly postpartum, that like initial motherhood time right now, like what are other things like you would want to tell your past self or something that like you really try to share with friends now to help them along in their journey?
So I think, yes, I think the biggest thing is you hear so much about this village. And I remember thinking, oh gosh, I don't have any, like, my sister doesn't live nearby, my parents don't live nearby. What is this village going to look like? And so I think the biggest thing is your village can look like whatever works for you, even if your village is solely online because you live somewhere remote that you don't have many people around you. But I think one of the biggest things that I like to tell people is, if you're able to, and if this is something that you're comfortable with, have something like that, because I think it's really important to be able to, when you're up at 2 a.m. pumping, or when you're up like scrolling at midnight because you're worried that, it's your firstborn and your child just coughs and you're like, is this okay? So it's important to sort of establish that. And at Soma, we're trying to build a community like that too. So because it's so, so important to me. And that's something I always say for first time moms or just in general, because it's easy to be able to think that you can do things alone, but I do think that we'll go farther if we go together. So I always say that.
Yeah, I love that. So where can we reach you? Where can we get in contact with you? Where are you hanging out on social media? Tell us all the details.
Yes, so we are on social media, Solma T. And so if you send us a message on social media, on Instagram, I personally respond to you. And then you can visit our website at solmat.com. And again, if you send us a message through there, I also personally respond to you. So very the whole idea between a village and just like one-on-one is really important to me, especially as we're growing, and I still have the opportunity to do that. And so any questions, any comments, any feedback, love to hear it all. And so just reach out through Instagram, through any of our social media channels, or through our website, solmati.com.
Yeah, I think that's great. So like we can get the product like directly through the website or, like are there going to be stores that are having them or are they going to be like more readily available? Like what is the future?
Yeah, so right now we're strictly e-commerce. We have exciting things in the works right now, and we're looking into to possibly expanding in retail. So a lot goes into that. So that we're currently working that. But right now, in order to get our products, we sell them in packs of 2, 3, and 6, and it's strictly e-commerce at this time.
Perfect. Well, this has been so much fun. Thank you for sharing your motherhood experience, your business, and like how it's like expanded and gone and what it has come to today. And really just like, your own personal story.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. This was great. I always love chatting all things motherhood and business. So thank you for this
Same.
opportunity.
Thank you, mamas, so much for listening. Remember, you are a rock star. I believe in you. Let's doula this. Let's crank it up a notch and let's kick it into high gear together. Hit that subscribe button, share this episode with a friend, message me, email me, call me, beat me. You know how to reach me. We're doing this, mamas. I am so excited to catch you here next week. This is your one-stop go-to place for helping you find the resources you need to make the best choices for you and your family during pregnancy, birth, and most importantly, postpartum. See you later, mamas.